tomorrow. We continue to track Hurricane Bertha. Still a minimal hurricane, even though it's been inland for at least the last 4 or 5 or 6 hours. I believe it moved inland near Wrightsville Beach around 4:30 or 5 o'clock this afternoon, the first Atlantic landfalling hurricane of the season. Some latest information to pass along to you. Of course, in the North Carolina area, wind damage extensive in the coastal regions. Power lines and trees down in Pender and Bladen counties at this time. Curfew is now in effect in Hanover County until 5 a.m. Let's look at some video of this ferocious storm as it made landfall. For the most part, was spared the major damage. Wilmington is 5 miles inland from Wrightsville Beach. There was some roof damage and some boats were tossed about near the USS North Carolina Memorial. So quite a bit of damage, but it could have been a lot worse, I guess is the best way to put it. Let's look on the satellite map now, see what's been going on in the last several hours. Still some convection associated with the center of circulation, about 75 miles to the west of Norfolk, Virginia at this time. The bright orange color shows a band of heavy rains now moving through parts of Delaware and Maryland, probably up to southern New Jersey during the next couple of hours. There's still a good punch with this storm, especially with the heavy rains and the high surf. The latest numbers, as of 1 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time, you can read the numbers there for yourself. Winds 75 miles an hour, a minimal hurricane, probably at the 3 o'clock advisory, and I'm saying probably. It will be downgraded to a tropical storm once the winds fall another couple of miles an hour. It will be a tropical storm. Moving rather briskly to the north-northeast at 13 or 18 miles an hour. Pressure rising more or less there. About 990 millibars are holding pretty much steady. Let's look at some of the warnings that are out right now. We have hurricane warnings from Chincoteague, tropical storm watch from Merrimack River to Watch Hill. This has now been upgraded to a tropical storm warning all the way from Chincoteague to Merrimack River. Of course, boats should stay inshore for at least the next 12 to 18 hours until these warnings are taken down, hopefully later tomorrow as the storm moves rather rapidly to the northeast, and probably by Sunday afternoon it will just be a memory even in the northeast. Now, bands of heavy rain moving through the Baltimore-Washington area to Philadelphia. This heavy band that went through New York metro area now up to, not south of Albany, still around Newburgh, approaching Hartford, some heavy rains there into Providence during the next couple of hours. So heavy rain will be the big problem. There's a monsoonal showers in the southwest back into Nevada. Low pressure area bringing some light showers from Muskegon to Traverse City and Marquette, Michigan. And of course, all those heavy storms associated with Hurricane Bertha as it moves up.
Has a discount long this
48 hours. You can see the storm down here, the hurricane in the Bahamas moving up the coast and then swirling up to the north-northeast pretty rapidly right now. I want you to watch a couple of things. We're going to jump back in time again 2 days right here, right now. Look at these troughs of low pressure coming over the top. We thought one of these troughs of low pressure would turn it out to sea, but it was the most powerful, it turns out, relative to the trough, so it sort of took over, and as the troughs moved over the top of it, it just sort of went right into the troughs. We'll do that one more time, you'll see it. Here's one trough going over the top. Here comes another one. It's just sort of skirted over the top of it as it continued to move in the direction it wanted to go into. Also watch too as it comes closer, you can see a little bit of a disturbance moving in from the west, sort of stopping as the low pressure area, the hurricane got to the north and then came under it. Watch it right here. Here it comes. It's coming close to the hurricane. It stops and then comes under the hurricane as it moves off to the northeast. This is a very large hurricane, a very powerful system that had its own mind. It went where it wanted to go, basically. Let's look at some of the latest numbers as of 1 o'clock. Here it is, the latest numbers as of 1 o'clock. Do we go to that? The convection, in other words, heavy thunderstorms. You can see them by the colder cloud tops, which in the infrared picture shows up in the bright orange and red colors around the center of circulation, which is located right about here at this time. And it's moving off to the northeast, north-northeast pretty rapidly. But some of these heavy squalls could produce some heavy rains in the category of 2 to 4 inches at least. Some local areas might even get 4, 5, 6 inches of rain. As we look at a radar now, you can see the center of circulation becoming broader at this time, probably somewhere in this area, about 75 miles southwest of Norfolk, which is located right about where my finger is. So it's losing somewhat of its strength and identity, but still some heavy feeder bands. Good news with these is that they're out in the ocean over open water. It's not going to cause any problems around Hatteras or the Outer Banks, and that's good news. Hurricane warning still in effect, force winds right now. Even though we're showing a large area of hurricane force winds, most of these winds, 75 miles an hour is where you start getting into the hurricane category. They're probably not much above that in some gusts, 75 to 80 miles an hour, we'll say, and they're starting to diminish quite rapidly. But the winds of 40 to 60 to 70 miles an hour shown here in the yellow colors, mostly in gusts at this time. Storms back from central New Jersey all the way down the coast to northeastern parts of North Carolina. And as we look at a radar from that region, you'll see where some of the heavier showers, even a few embedded thunderstorms, are at this time. One heavy band now is moving through parts of southern Delaware, parts of Maryland, the center of circulation right about in that area. Lighter rains now, and that's good news around the Norfolk area. Things are decreasing in intensity quite a bit.